after the handshake, Kathy Dorn is going to be starting this match. Anne-Marie obviously has the advantage whether she wants to start or finish the match. It's the choice, I should say, and she has put the pressure on Kathy Dorn here.
She wants to make Kathy finish. Should there be any pressure, since Kathy's relatively new, she wants to make her finish last.
Coming up through the nose, leads a baby split, the 310. These are two players on totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Anne-Marie Dugan with 43 career television appearances. Kathy Dorn with 2. What's the intimidation factor here? Is Kathy Dorn actually intimidated by Anne-Marie?
Well, I would be. I mean, she's out here only in her second year, her third telecast, and you're bowling against a player who is leading virtually every statistic we have this year. She's got to be somewhat intimidated. Excellent conversion on that spare. You see she's having the ball hit both pins. The best way to pick up any spare, the ball actually deflects off the 3-pin and into the 10-pin.
And the crowd very appreciative of the effort there. And if she wants to intimidate an opponent, that is the best way to do so. Anne-Marie Dugan opening up with a pocket shot.
And she's playing a little farther right, more like she did on Monday. The last 2 days, the players have been much deeper on the lane, more around the third to fourth arrow. She looks to be a little bit farther right today.
Anne-Marie tournament average 214, average on this pair 222. So this was a pretty good pair for her throughout the week. Does not carry the wall shot.
That was a terrific shot. The ball was driving really hard into the pocket. It hit light, but normally the 5-pin would take out that 7 or something off the wall, but nothing did. The head pin went, ball came in light, head pin went off the wall, came back across in front. The 5-pin just sat down, didn't shoot left.
Just stopped short of it, but a big smile from Anne-Marie. She's really got a great attitude right now about her success here in 94.
She's trying to handle it just one tournament at a time. The best way to handle any type of success.
Right now, Kathy Dorn looking for success. Last appearance was she lost to Lisa Wagner, 215 to 210. So a respectable game by Kathy. Nothing to be ashamed of.
And there you see the ball coming light. She actually probably made an adjustment. I don't know if the two lanes are playing different yet, but she went high on lane 27. She wanted to trust it, probably said, okay, calm down, make a good shot. But she got it a little bit right.
We got a shot at her match play record momentarily. The match play record was 17-7. Excellent for Kathy. That's actually what got her into the telecast. I know there were a number of players that finished much lower. And listening to Kathy right there, she said,
she's asking to have either the 2 or the 5-pin. The 5-pin, I believe, respotted. You see an extra space there between the 2 and the 5-pin. One of those 2 pins are off spot. Now, if your first shot, if a pin does not hit any of these pins and the rack sets them down in the wrong position for your spare shot, you are allowed to have them respotted. But if the pin would have rolled around in the first shot and moved one of these pins, then she could not have had it respotted. So it is Rick Hudson's decision whether it can be respotted. There you see they're moving the 5-pin to the left a little bit, and this is a very smart decision. Very gutsy move by Kathy Dorn to hold things up and say, hey, I need that where it's supposed to be.
That's right, that extra space in there be a lot easier to chop that spare. Converts it after the weight.
She's having all kinds of problems right now. She's saying they're talking very loud in the back. She can hear them when she's going to release. The mechanics are actually talking in the back.
Well, do you remember, Jan, when you first made a telecast, did things seem to bother you more than as you get a little more experience under your belt?
Yeah, I think a lot of things distracted me, and so many things were distracting me that the game was over and I didn't even know what was happening. And the more you go through it, the more you start to just pay attention to making your shots.
Carrying the light hit. She'll have to be able to take a big breath there and get that first strike on the board. Number 7th television appearance of the year, already with 3 titles in '94. Ringing 10-pin.
Anne-Marie's playing extremely direct for her. She actually appears to have a really good shot out there around the 7th or 8th board, pretty straight up and in.
Both players almost doing the opposite of what they should be doing. Kathy Dorn, that straighter type player, actually possibly should be outside farther. And then you've got Anne-Marie Dugan, who likes to go away, is playing outside instead of playing in.
Yeah, it is opposite of what I would expect.
Well, whatever works and whatever knocks them down. And right now both players are clean through 3 frames. Anne-Marie Dugan has a 2-pin lead. And we have a look at the scoreboard, but it went off. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything up there. Looks like she likes lane 27. And Anne-Marie Dugan now still has a 2-pin lead. We'll have more action from here in Huntsville, Alabama, right after this. The $50,000 Rocket City Challenge is being brought to you by Fab Ball Enterprises, maker of hammer bowling balls and the finest of bowling apparel, bags, and accessories. And we're back in frame number 4 for Kathy Dorn. If she strikes here, she will take the lead in this match. Does not trip out the 7-pin.
Ooh, that ball hitting really light. She's playing pretty deep. She's playing more like she did yesterday and the day before. The ball seems to be sliding long before it flips. She needs to get a little bit earlier flip.
I know Kathy's been on an emotional roller coaster here in '94. She was the runner-up to Rookie of the Year last year. Kathy Edwards won that honor. Jan, what has she done to combat that?
Well, she's actually been working with sports psychologist Diana McNabb back home. She went home actually during the week we had off 2 weeks ago and worked with her. And what she's working with her on is trying to get through the past and the future. You know, not because she's felt like she's been living in people's shadows and trying to compete with so many people, and they're just trying to get her to just be happy with who she is and what she does and do it the best she can.
And a look at the scoreboard again. Both players clean through 4 frames. You mentioned those shadows. Her sister Carolyn Dorn is on tour. Oh, and you mentioned playing a little deep in deflection.
Yeah, the ball isn't driving through the pins. It's actually deflecting off the head pin too hard. And there is Carolyn Dorn that you mentioned. Carolyn bowling extremely well this year. I think only missing 1 LPBT finals this entire year. So, yeah, it's been hard for Kathy.
And she also captured her first title, the first event of the winter tour. And another friend of hers, Tammy Turner, who she went to college with, has had a lot of success out here on the tour and in only her first year. So she has been living in the shadows of these 2 players.
You know, I heard Kathy turn back to Carolyn and Tammy and say, you know, I was thinking about moving. So I think she knew she needed to move her feet a little bit to the right, and she didn't do it, and that resulted the 8-10.
Well, she may have gotten the break there as Anne-Marie comes up a little high.
Anne-Marie pulled that ball well left of her target. She's been out around 7. I think she hit about 10 at the arrows with that ball, and it would not sit.
Well, Anne-Marie has lost the last 2 times we've seen her in the telecast. Cheryl Daniels had the hot hand there for 2 weeks in a row, and Anne-Marie's trying to break that streak of 0-2.
Anne-Marie starts with that ball about shoulder high, knees bent. She's got a 5-step approach. She's got a pretty high backswing above her shoulder, and look at that slide. Long slide, about 6 to 7 feet. Lofts the ball well out on the lane. Cranker type of style, and most of the cranker type bowlers are more of a plant and throw, and she actually slides as she's ripping through the shot.
And she ripped through that one as she strikes again on lane 27. Meanwhile, Kathy Dorn is taking a re-rack on lane 28.
Pretty good.
Heard Kathy comment on the rack. You saw that ball actually flip into the pocket that time. And there's a look at Jimmy Certain, the 89 senior PBA Bowler of the Year, and he's also a member of the Alabama Hall of Fame.
You know, speaking of the seniors, Rick Hudson, our tournament director, he works both our tour and the senior men's tour. He'll be going to work that after we're done next week.
Keeps Rick quite busy, week after week, traveling. Looking for the double. Keep herself in this match. Oh, she does not get it. A little deflection. Again, leaves the 5-pin.
She doesn't feel like she's throwing it good. She's just saying, don't throw it good. She's being a little negative at this point in time, but she really wants to do well out here. She's so close. She's just not quite getting the hit on the ball that she wants to get the ball to finish harder.
You're supposed to think positive thoughts from those sports psychology books that I've read. Well, don't go away. There'll be more coming from the AMS Pin Palace in Huntsville, Alabama. And we're back with the rest of match number 1. Anne-Marie Dugan now leading by 15, working on a strike. Oh, a solid 7-pin.
Great shot. The ball drove through a little bit too hard. Actually did not deflect enough.
Very unusual hit.
There were quite a few of those actually this week. Solid 7, solid 9 pins. Balls tended to drive through pretty hard.
Carey had to be decent. It took 207 to make the top 24 this week average. It took 208 to make the telecast, and 203 to cash this week.
And you notice she changed to a non-resin ball to shoot that left side spare, so you get a more even reaction, and that ball almost hooked away.
That's scary when those non-reactive balls almost took away.
You mentioned Kathy Dorn got in the show because of her match play record. Well, Anne-Marie actually was second in pinfall, but because her match play record was only 11, 12, and 1, she wound up dropping to 4th for qualifying.
That's right. She mentioned to me last night that things had to start turning around. She knew they did because the last couple weeks her match play record has been phenomenal. And she said it was bound to happen, and this week it did happen. But fortunately for her, she knocked down so many pins to keep her in the telecast. Okay, she is giving the crowd a thrill here.
So that time she stayed with her resin equipment, although an 8-pin is really just your strike shot, and the ball almost didn't get across.
Kathy Dorn trying to get something going. She's trailing by 14. One right here in the 8th frame would do her some good. Slide a little. Heard her say slide a little. And then she said, I don't throw them any better than that.
She knew that ball was going to hook. She wanted to make sure it didn't get on the nose. She was asking it to slide down the lane. That was a good shot. Came in a little high. Tripped the 4-pin. Bad break to leave the 9, good break to trip the 4. So she'll just have to get her spare and go on. There's still 2 frames.
28, the ball's actually flipping, but 27, it's not.
You can see she got it a little bit left of her target. She actually hit about 20 at the arrows, 4th arrow. You can see the ball's winding turn, and that's when she's saying slide, because if it broke just a hair more, she would have been dead on the nose.
So she could have actually thrown that a little better.
A little bit.
And a look at the scoreboard after 8 frames. Strike here in the 9th for Kathy. Strike out in the 10th. She could shoot a possible 203, which would force Anne-Marie to catch a double sometime in the 9th and 10th frame. Come on. Heard her say, come on.
27 does appear to be tighter, and if you even notice, that's where Anne-Marie almost hooked away from the spare on 28 and almost slid by the spare on 27. So it appears that 27 is tighter of the 2 lanes. And some deadwood rolled around out there. I believe it's sitting in the channel right now. It will not affect her shot. She can shoot her spare if she chooses to, unless it's going to bother her mentally, but they'll probably have them get it from the back.
Can I go?
She's asking if she can
If
go.
I hit that pin in the gutter, I'm pretty bad. As you said, Jan, it's not going to affect her shot. I think he's looking for it. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
While you're at it, you can wipe off some of that conditioner down there, and maybe 27 will start hooking a little more in the back end, right?
I'm sure Kathy wouldn't mind.
No, except that's the last time she's going to be up on that lane unless Anne-Marie blows it. Kathy goes on to win this match. But she converts the spare. Again, clean. No, I take that back. She 8-10 there in the 5th frame.
Right, but she's been getting the ball to the pocket.
That's
She
right.
just hasn't lined up to carry, but at least she's getting the ball to the pocket. She's close. And that's really her goal right now, not to spray the ball all over the place.
And now here she has 28. And something is bothering Anne-Marie.
And this was just a fantastic shot. Looks like she probably hit around 8 to 10 at the arrows. Ball just driving straight through. No chance for anything to stand.
Kathy Dorn actually defeated Anne-Marie Dugan 213 to 176 in match play. Again, we get to look at the scoreboard going into the 10th frame. A strike and 3 pins, and she'll lock Kathy Dorn out of the match. Getting some movement there. Doing the smart thing right now, taking her time. See Kathy just trying to keep her own thoughts together, saying, please, just give me a chance.
I think Anne-Marie only needs a mark here, because all Kathy can shoot now is 192, so Anne-Marie will just need a mark.
And what better way to get a mark than to throw a strike? And that pretty much wrapped up match number 1. Kathy Dorn is going to have to settle for 5th place. Check for $2,000. Should be fairly happy about that, though. Her highest 1994 finish up to this point was 10th in the Texas Border Shootout. At least she's now on a positive note. She can go into next week thinking positive thoughts.
Right, she really needed to get. She's made a couple checks this swing, but she hasn't even made a cut, and she's been working so hard. And she also went home and worked with her coach, Pat Brannon, and she really felt like it was paying off this week.
And it's a 206 for Anne-Marie Dugan. She'll be moving on to meet Kim Kennedy, and that'll be coming back. That'll be coming up when we come back, right after these messages. And we're back with match number 2. Anne-Marie Dugan defeated Kathy Dorn in match number 1. 206 to 169. Kim Kennedy starting match number 2. And also opting to play that inside line. The ball slides a little too much forward. Leaves the 2-5 on lane 27.
She appears to have the same thing that Kathy had on that lane. We'll have to see how quick she adjusts to that.
Do you think she was paying attention to where Anne-Marie was playing?
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I would think she was watching. They do have a monitor down that's on by the practice pair where she could see that.
Wow, that ball took a left turn at the last 2 feet. Kim says, whoa, okay, but she picks it up anyway.
You know, we didn't get to see Kathy finish up, and I was going to say hi, but she's going to say bye to her friends. There's a look at that spare. Whew, she made an adjustment off the strike shot, and it just hooked instantly.
And Anne-Marie Dugan now leaving the 2-4.
Anyway, Kathy had wanted to say, hi to her family and friends at Jersey Lanes and in Texas. And unfortunately, she's not going to get to say hi, but we'll say it for her.
Well, Anne-Marie converts to spare, but I had to laugh at Kathy Doran last night. She said that she wanted everybody to know she was still alive out here. No, they did not see her name too much in the finals lately, but she was alive.
And really, the lanes are about the same for Anne-Marie as far as she's striking and sparing.
Swishing the 5, but the 6-pin laid in the channel.
That ball a little bit inside of target, it looked like, and it actually slid. She set it down left of target and still threw it to the right. It's a little bit longer.
Anne-Marie winning 2 titles from the number 5 position, 1 title from the number 4 position. So 3 out of her 11 titles. She has made it up the ladder. Converts to spare.
As we've mentioned so many times in the last few weeks, Anne-Marie does not opt to change equipment on the 10-pin. She breaks her wrist back and throws a straight ball across at it.
Kim Kennedy, 5th year on tour, 2 career titles. Last title, 1990 in the Clearwater Classic. So it's been a dry spell for her.
Now they're starting to look a little bit more like yesterday, and she got a little bit deeper and it hooked even more.
And Ethel Cummings, Kim Kennedy's cousin, is here to cheer her on. It's always nice to have family and friends in the audience.
It helps a lot. You know, when Kim won in 1990, she actually won back-to-back titles at that time. And that's the last title, like you said. So it's been hard for her.
We really thought things were going to start turning around and going great for her. She's a former Team USA member. She was in 87, 88. She came on, took the tour by storm. Like you mentioned, she won back-to-back titles, and then all of a sudden, she ran into some problems.
Yeah, she hurt her left hip, and she tried to bowl through it. And what happened was she wound up with sciatic nerve problems and a lot of lower back problems. And it threw her whole game off trying to compensate for the injury.
And almost identical to the shot that Anne-Marie Dugan left on lane 27. And it's Joshua Buckley, Kim's caddy this week, and all the players had caddies, and that was wonderful.
That was great. You know, my caddy took care of everything. We had the clipboards with scores and everything, and he handled that, and it was just fantastic to have somebody carry your balls for you, and we were treated royally here.
Not to mention how heavy that equipment can be after 42 games. Right now, Anne-Marie Dugan with a 1-pin lead. This match very tight.
You know, as opposed to Anne-Marie, Kim chose to change balls. She just shot a 10-pin and she went to a harder surface ball.
Again, the ball coming up light. This time leads the 2-5. I think the conditioner's carrying down, Jan?
I'm sure it is. Now, Anne-Marie is the only one playing in that area, so it's taken a little bit longer than it would normally when you have more than one player playing an area. Anne-Marie has the same problem right now that Kathy Doran had. The 2 or the 5-pin, one of them moved when the rack set it back down, and she's asking to have it respotted. I think there's a question as to whether a pin hit it and moved it or whether the rack moved it.
Well, this would help if we had our instant replay. I guess we could call a shot, but Rick Hudson appears to have denied Anne-Marie's request.
No, she's waiting.
She is waiting. Oh, he is going to let her, or let the pins be moved back to spot. I thought she was leaning over there to pick up her ball. And while we're waiting, we'll take a look at Kathy Doran's caddy, David Gilbert. And I know they get very, very anxious for their player to actually win.
Oh, yeah. You feel bad if you don't bowl well for your caddy.
Right. They're making their debut. You let one more person down, right?
Besides yourself and your family and your friends.
And a look at the scoreboard, 3 spares for each of the 2 players. Neither one able to put an X on the board yet. try, and she got that sharp break right before the pins.
I believe she might have gone to another ball, the same brand ball, but a different ball. She actually picked a ball up, set it down, and picked another one up. And I believe she tried another ball that hooked a little earlier, and it hooked too early because she came light or hit light twice.
Looking for that stronger back-end reaction. Again, she backs it up, but tries to get as many as she can. Only takes 2. Meanwhile, Kim Kennedy takes an 18-pin lead while sitting on the bench. Don't go away. We'll be right back for these messages. And we're back. Kim Kennedy now up in the 4th frame. Crosses over, carries the Brooklyn strike. Still getting the same reaction on lane 28. She's going to have to get in a little deeper, Jan?
She's going to have to make a big move one way or the other. She needs to get in deeper and play more, even maybe left to 4th arrow. That ball, she actually, okay, she's hitting around 17 at the arrows, and it's hooking. So she needs to get her feet to the left, play maybe 20, 21, or there, or she needs to move right to where Anne-Marie's playing. Because she's in a zone where if she throws it to the right, it's going to slide, and if she pulls it, it's going to hook.
Oh, boy. Did she capitalize on that Brooklyn shot beautifully for the double? She now takes the 27-pin lead.
That was a great shot. Let's see if she got deeper on this. Set the ball down a little bit. Maybe a little left. Maybe about 19. Not too much deeper.
But remember, lane 27 was sliding more, wasn't it?
Right. You're right. It was.
That's the lane Kathy Dorn could never get to finish hard, so it might turn out to be a good lane for Kim. Anne-Marie Dugan, however, leaves a 10-pin. Finds herself trailing. 27, switches balls.
Now, it looks like she is getting some carry down because she tried to move her feet right more, go even more direct at it and see if she could carry out the 10.
Right now, the forerunner, the 1994 Bowler of the Year. I know it's something that Anne-Marie is trying not to think about because she really had a good start a couple years in a row there, winning titles, coming out very strong, and the fall proved to be disastrous for her.
You saw the scoreboard there. She was trailing by 27.
And she carries that shot. She just hopes now to put a string together, put some pressure back on Kim.
Kim's going to have to see if she can figure this lane out. Looks like she's moved her feet a little to the left.
After you go Brooklyn. Oh, my. Wow. And her eyes got very big as she was walking back on that shot.
Oh, her set down's a little bit left. She's about 19 to 20 at the arrow, so she did go a little bit deeper, and it looks like it's going to slide in. At the last second, it's just hooking. You know, no one's been in that deep. Oh, she's going, what am I supposed to do?
Well, it's a little embarrassing, but she's doing the best that she can do, and she is capitalizing on him by capturing the one on 27. Oh, my. Puts it in the pocket again for 4 in a row. She has a 47-pin lead. We'll be back with the rest of match number 2 in a moment. And while we were away, Anne-Marie Dugan up here in the 7th frame.
Ball came up really light. Look at that. Hitting that 4th, it toppled, you know, it just kept toppling back and forth, but never went down.
And in frame number 8, though, she comes roaring back. Puts them all in the pit. But she's still trailing Kim Kennedy by 47 pins. Kim right now just wants to stay clean through the next 3 frames. Anne-Marie Dugan, it wouldn't even matter if she struck all the way out. It wouldn't be enough.
Right. However, Kim has to finish on this right lane. She needs to get it lined up.
Oh, she went very deep on that shot. Beautiful adjustment. Swishes out the rack.
She made a big move. She actually moved her set down and her feet quite a bit left, and she actually got the ball quite a bit to the right, so she actually opened up the lane quite a bit more.
Taking a little extra time. I know she's done a lot of reading of sports psychology books, listens to tapes and music.
She does, and every Sunday night before the tournament starts, she has relaxation tape. She listens to the same one every Sunday night.
Right now, she looks pretty relaxed as she has just strung 6 in a row. Anne-Marie Dugan at this point can only shoot 211. It's not going to be enough. She's going to have to settle for a 4th place finish. And there's her caddy, Amanda Stafford. And another person that's disappointed.
And look at this shot. Almost to the Brooklyn side, actually on the nose. Pins flying everywhere, taking out the 6 and the 10.
Says, why couldn't that just happen in the 7th, too? Because had she carried that wobbling 4-pin there in the 7th, she, too, would have had 5 in a row, and this would have been a whole different match. Anne-Marie is sitting down. I guess she doesn't realize it's the 10th frame.
Yeah, it is the 10th frame.
What do you think, Jen? I've never seen that happen before. Anne-Marie has thrown her first shot in the 10th.
I don't understand that. There seems to be a little confusion.
Well, Kim got it right that time. She leads the 2-4-10. If you're going to do it, I guess now's as good a place as any. She does have this match won. A little confusion down there. Now, Anne-Marie, the veteran player that she is, I don't know if the scoreboard that Rick is holding.
It may not be correct since they aren't sure, but I think Anne-Marie maybe just realized it. I think I saw her say it really doesn't matter since it doesn't affect the match.
Right.
You know, it's just like you were bowling league play where they alternate back and forth. Players alternate back and forth. Oh. No, she doesn't know that that was her 10th frame.
Well, something's very confusing here if we have an extra frame muck. But while they figure it out, we're going to go to commercial. We'll let you know what happened when we come back. And we're back. Kim Kennedy starting match number 3. Robin Romeo had the choice whether she wanted Kim to start or finish, and I find it interesting. She is forcing Kim to finish on lane 28. If you recall, she threw those 2 Brooklyns.
And there you see the breakdown, though, since she did finish up with 3 strikes. It looked like she figured that lane out, but...
Coming up high, leaving the 3-6.
And she went back and slid again on the approach. Looked like she didn't get a good aggressive slide off that time, causing her to just set the ball early and pull it left to target. It's interesting, both of these players actually work with Fred Borden. We were mentioning Robin does, and also Kim works with Fred Borden. She also has a coach at home. Clay Adams works with Kim a lot and has made several of the changes in her game for her.
And she converts the spare. I know Kim also mentioned she's out here a lot longer than she had originally intended.
She did. She said she was only going to be out a couple of years, and she came out so strong and then had that slump, and she did not want to go out on a bad note. So she's staying here, just wants to bowl well, and if she bowls well the rest of the year, she's probably going to retire, and we won't see her next year.
Oh, and Robin Romeo starts out very aggressively with a strike.
Robin stands really straight. She holds the ball high. It's a change just made. They just moved the ball up when Fred worked with her just this last week. She has a 5-step approach. She's trying to get her feet going. She just wants to go. She's been hesitating. She's trying to be aggressive into the line. Look at the good. She starts with a good knee bend. Watch as she comes through. She kind of pops up a little, bends a lot at the hip. But there is more than one way to get it done, and she does a fine job of it.
And she's doing a fine job of it right now as she doubles.
Some of those changes that Kim's been making, she's actually been moving back on the approach. She's almost all the way back now with a 4-step approach. She's trying to get her timing. She was having trouble with her timing.
And no trouble that time as she puts one right in the pocket.
And there you see how far back she is right now. She's actually almost to the back of the approach. She also stands fairly straight up. She's got this long, fluid arm swing. Look at her push it out. Arm fully extended all the way through, straight arm. Look how low she gets to the line. She sets that ball down. You don't even know it's hit the lane. Beautiful follow through.
And that's one of the unique things about Kim's game. We talked to her last night. How close she sets that ball down to the front.
She also said that sometimes it's a disadvantage. You know, if the lanes are hooking a lot in the heads or the front part of the lane, it's hard for her because if she sets it early, the ball hooks too early. But sometimes it is an advantage, as it was this week.
Heard Robin Romeo say, I got hooked. Apparently, she is wearing a wireless mic, and it got tangled somewhere along the line. Hopefully that doesn't break her concentration as she's working on 2 strikes. The match right now, even.
And notice Robin is the only player not using the new reactive resin equipment. And she said, you know, she felt like she was in the old school with her game and the things, the equipment she was using some of the time.
Oh, 4-pin shoots straight up in the air, solid 7.
That was a great shot.
Is there a reason though she's not using resin?
Let's take a look at this first. She's in around 20, really deep for Robin. The ball's going straight through. Look at that. Oh, 4-pin flies off the wall. 4-pin went back. Head pin flew off the wall. In answer to your question, Leila, she does use resin some of the time, but she had a great reaction this week. I actually crossed with Robin, and she had a great reaction with the non-resin equipment, so she chose to use it. And before, she had a problem, a mental problem with saying, hey, am I doing the wrong thing here? Should I be using this new equipment? And Fred Borden told her, hey, that's when he said, do what you do best. Go up the boards, go down and in, use what equipment you're comfortable with, play your own game. Don't worry about the new players.
Come on, ball.
And she came out great this week.
Well, she carries the wall shot there. Still trailing by 1 right now. Kim Kennedy working on a double, can increase her lead to 11 with a strike here. Found it interesting. Kim Kennedy's last tournament that she did win, we mentioned it was in 1990, but she came from the number 3 seed.
Could be a good omen.
Could be. A little high, 4-7.
And that's the lane she has been having trouble coming high on, all except for that shot in the 10th that she made last game.
Very supportive parents that Kim has, as most all the players do. But I loved her quote last night. She says, I just have incredibly awesome parents. And I know they've been on hand a few tournaments. They don't get out here near as much as Kim would like them to.
That's great when you have your parents to support you and the rest of your family in any job you do, but especially when you're on the road and you're gone and you really need that support.
And a look at the scoreboard there. Kim Kennedy trailing by 1.
To shoot that 4-7 on the left, Kim went to another ball, the same brand ball, but it was highly polished, shinier than the one she's using. And Kim appears to be really comfortable on lane 27. She's only had the 1 bad shot on that lane.
Well, she averaged 213 on this pair throughout the week. Her tournament average was 211. And you heard Robin say, come on, ball. That gave her 2 in a row, an 11-pin lead.
She's doing some coaxing up there. And this looks the same as the last shot on lane 28. Ball finishing, going straight through the pins, and this time the 7 pins down.
And you see her saying, come on. She looks very aggressive tonight, Jan.
Oh, I haven't seen Robin Romeo look like this all year. Like she said last night, she was getting lazy, a little bit slow, not coming through the ball hard, and she likes to go fast. And so, you know, Fred said just go, and that's what she's trying to do.
And we hope you're enjoying the $50,000 Rocket City Challenge. Robin Romeo is. She has a 21-pin lead. We'll be back right after this. And we're back with match number 3. As you can see, while we were away, Kim Kennedy threw a strike in the 6th, followed it up with a spare. Meanwhile, Robin Romeo spared in the 7th frame, and she just threw her first shot in the 8th frame, leaves a 7-pin. Robin has a 12-pin lead. Robin's highest 1994 finish, 6th in the Alexandria, Louisiana Open. Now, that was on the winter swing.
Right. She's been struggling a little more on this swing. She actually went in between our last tournament and this tournament to work with Fred. She didn't wait. You know, most players would wait till the end of the swing, and she said, hey, I need help now.
That's right. That was compliments of Dennis Baldwin, the president of Fab Ball on the East Coast, and also the proprietor of Country Club Lanes, which we'll be visiting in the fall. He said, Robin, if you've got time, I'd like to send you to see Freddie. Kim comes up a little high. She looks back. She says, hey, if they're going to fall for me tonight, that's just fine. This is a great place. I need it right here in the 8th frame. She's trying to fight her way back into this match. A strike here in the 9th would do really good for her, because she would increase her deficit to only 1 pin.
She really needs to set one up. Either way, Robin was going to be able to shut her out, but she needs to set one up to force Robin to have to, you know, strike out in the 10th.
And beautiful shot when the pressure was on, trailing by 1 pin. Robin Romeo can shut Kim out, though, by 1 pin. Like you said, this is getting nice and close.
I wonder if Robin's thinking about some of the things she wrote. Was that I carry everything?
That's right. ICE. She said she kept a little notebook down there. Says, I carry everything. Keeping those positive thoughts. Set. Heard her yell set. Players often do that when they want the ball to stay right on line.
Great camera angle there. Saw the ball. You could get a good line on where the ball was going.
And you can see there, look at the scoreboard, a 187 there in the 8th frame. As Kim Kennedy strikes, it's 186, and both can go to the wall. 240 pace here.
Robin can shut her out with all 3 strikes, but she needs every single pin here in the 10th. She's not happy with that shot at all.
Well, a little tight there, a little extra pressure. You heard her say, too fast?
Too fast, she said. It looks like she actually got there quick and then pulled the ball through, actually then pulling it left of her target.
A little foul line adjustment. Still, your timing is a little off. You try to make that adjustment at the last minute.
Right, and she has been coming light on that lane also. So if anything, she wanted to make sure she got it to finish, and a little bit too much. And that's her first shot again. There, her feet are already there, and she tried to pull the ball through, and it was left. It was left to the head pin all the way down the lane, really. Just kind of slid back there, almost faded back.
She was just hoping for more of a fallback at that point in time.
Come on, we need them all. Let's go.
Heard Robin say, come on, you need them all. Let's go. She knows how important pin count is right now. A strike would force Kim Kennedy to strike on the first shot.
Get them all.
1-7. Not what she had hoped for.
No, she needed all the pins there.
In a good game, 224 by Robin Romeo, but it might not be enough.
Kim's going to need a market depending upon how many pins she gets on her first ball, whether she'll be able to win or not win.
So again, pin count playing a very important role.
If she were to get 9 spare 9, we'd have a tie.
And this was not her good lane. Oh, my.
Oh.
She really gave it room to the right.
Exactly. Robin making her do it on that lane. And that's it.
Just because she had 7 on the first ball, she really needed that pin count. A spare and a strike right now. She could only shoot 223. Robin Romeo has already posted 224. Robin is going to be the winner. And Kim cannot believe it. She's like, I just threw it out the window. If she would have got 8 or 9, but 7 was what
right.
she did not want.
But see, this lane's been hooking on her.
That's
and,
right.
you know, she didn't want to hit the nose and leave a Greek church or something ridiculous. And so she tried to give it room. And I can relate to that.
What a turnaround this was.
Oh.
Kim Kennedy finishes 3rd. Take home a check for $2,860.
And that's tough to handle. She'll be seeing that all night.
It is when you feel like you have the match in your hands and all of a sudden it slips away from you. And when we come back, we'll recap the first 3 matches. So don't go away. And it's our championship match. Robin Romeo is going to be starting the match. I think she just took a deep breath and said, now, I can't quite believe I am in this match.
I'm sure. And you know, it's interesting. She chose to start. She wants to finish on lane 28. The players that hooked the ball didn't want to finish there because 27 is tighter. But Robin needs the extra finish, so she'd rather finish on lane 28 because she doesn't hook the ball as much.
And trying to go for that fallback again. Opens up with a 7-10 split. Not the way you want to open up the championship match.
And she's saying good start.
Obviously being very sarcastic.
She's real cautious and tentative on lane 27 because she's not getting the ball to hit hard enough, just like Kathy Dorn had that trouble on that lane. So she's actually trying to force it to the pocket, and she's pulling it left. That's twice we've seen her do it on that lane.
And our first look at Alita Sill from Dearborn, Michigan. Really has been the bridesmaid this year, hasn't she? She has finished 2nd 4 times.
That's tough to take, but then again, it's kind of nice. I mean, she's happy with 2nd, but of course she'd rather be 1st.
Not when you get that many shots at the title. She is 0-7 in the championship match. That means the last 7 times she has made it to title match, she has not won.
You know, she's putting so much pressure on herself because she wants to get into that 20 title category. And she's really pushing herself, and she's really nervous.
Did she do anything different this week to relax?
Yeah, you know, she said every other week she always just lays in the room and watches soap. So what she did today is she got up and went for a 7:30 tee time and played 18 holes of golf.
That would tire me out. I don't know about relaxing me, but she did mention that she was going to ride in a cart and not walk it, right?
Right. There you see 9 titles from the top seed position. This is her 20th time as top seed.
So really, she had a good record prior to the last 7 times in the championship match. And you can see she defeated Alita Sill. Robin did 223 to 175 in match play. Trying to trip the 4-pin, does not do it.
Robin really has a good shot on lane 28. The ball is actually going straight through the pins. That's why she's left a 7-pin and now a 4-pin, because the angle she's playing. But she really is hitting solid every shot on lane 28.
Her ball doesn't seem to be flipping at all. She is definitely playing a fallback shot.
Right, and what we mean by that is that she's actually left of the head pin. The ball is actually sliding over to the right of the head pin.
Reminds me of a lot of the Japanese players.
They do play that way. There you take a look at it, though. She's had 3 strikes on both lanes. But again, when she's missed on the left lane, it hasn't been a solid hit. The right lane, they've been solid hits, and she just hasn't carried.
Currently ranking 29th in earnings in 94. As we mentioned, she has struggled. She once held the record for 77 consecutive match play. Yes. performances, and she trips out the 4-pin that shot, which, what a phenomenal record. To make the top 24 77 consecutive times. I don't even know how many years that was.
There you see she tightened it up on that lane, just to the right of the head pin. Ball hitting pretty high. Head pin coming off the wall, taking out the 4 and the 7.
That almost looked like it was dead center on the head pin.
But the ball was actually finishing away from the head pin instead of into the head pin, and that causes a different pin reaction.
And the 4-pin just sitting in the channel. Lita currently leading by 11. Averaged 229 on the television pair. 214 was her tournament average, so again, a good pair for Lita. Robin Romeo actually had the lowest average of our 5 finalists on the television pair. She only averaged 205.
And that just, that'll go to show you how different the lanes always are, from day to day between the conditioning, the weather, the TV lights.
And there's still hope for Robin right here. A strike in the 4th frame. She'll only be trailing by 1. And something disturbing Alita there.
Good look at Robin trying to focus. She's looking down a little bit. Trying not to watch Alita.
2 veteran players, 14 years on tour. Alita has been, and 17 for Robin, so they have met time and time again. You can see high game, 299. Do you recall what she left, Jan?
No, I didn't get to see that game.
Low game, 161. She didn't shoot 300 this week, but she has a career total of 21 300 games.
Alita also chose to change balls, and she shoots her left side spares.
The former U.S. Open champion. She did that in '89. Also won the Samstown Invitational. So she has 2 of the Triple Crowns. So failed to win the WIBC Queens, though.
And as I just said, she had such a good shot on lane 28. She comes high on that lane. Maybe starting to break down a little bit for her.
Do you think she's feeling the pressure, Jan, of the title match here?
I'm sure she is. And she was in about 20, but you see how that ball hooked? It hooked much sooner down the lane. So she either was a little bit slow on that shot, or the lanes are starting to break down.
Which is something she's been working on, trying to keep that ball speed high.
Right, and she said that's what kept her in here this week, was being able to throw hard as the lanes broke down.
Well, she converts the spare.
See how Robin actually backs the ball up at those right side spares. Robin had said her best thing in her game was shooting spares for a while, but she said as things have gone downhill, her game has gotten a little bit, her spare shooting game has gotten a little bit worse, but it was back on target this week.
And speaking of downhill, there her average had dropped from 1993 to 1994. And I think we'll see more of Robin in the fall. She's got things worked out now.
And again, she's just not trusting the ball. She's definitely left of target. And it's hard to trust it if you're not sure it's going to hit.
Well, she's not really playing that swing. So when she's playing a fallback, if you trust it a little bit and you're not playing that swing, it's going to slide and miss the head pin off to the right.
Right, or if you do hit it, it's going to deflect and you'll see like an 8-10 like you saw Kathy Doran leave.
She said most of the week she just felt like she was throwing at the pocket. Right now she's going to continue to do so, but meanwhile Alita still is staying clean. She has a 10-pin lead. She is taking a re-rack on lane 28. I think Alita's also feeling the pressure, trying to win that 20th title. Even though she said she was going to relax. Easier said than done.
She was going to try to. She doesn't know why. She said, I don't know why I'm feeling so much pressure for this 20th title, because really it's just another title, but it's in a very elite group.
Beautiful shot there. 2-time Bowling Writers Association Woman Bowler of the Year back in '84 and '85, 10 years ago. Still out here though, bowling beautifully. Look at the scoreboard. She can increase her lead to 20 with a strike here in the 6th frame. And you heard the crowd say one more time, but it came up high. Leads the 2-pin.
She's been coming high on that lane the last 2 shots. Neither player is lined up right now.
Well, half the match is over. Alita still has the lead by 10. Stay with us. We'll be back with the rest of our championship match. And Robin Romeo is now up in the 6th frame, trailing by 10 pins. Wants nothing more than a strike right here.
During that break, Robin took a look at her notebook, trying to remind her of the things that Fred told her to do, and it worked.
Apparently it helped, right. Keep up that ball speed, stay aggressive.
She's got certain things to target on, and exactly what you just said. The foot speed, she wants to keep her feet fast, not too fast, but to keep her ball speed fast.
And Matt Tidmore, Robin's caddy, saying, come on. You can read lips there. One more. Wonder if they're cutting any of the prize money for the caddy.
I don't know.
Good tip. Oh, trips the 4, but the 9 stays.
She really has no room on that lane. She's got to be exact. If it hits a little weak, she's not carrying, and if she hits a little high, she's not carrying.
Well, fortunately for her right now, Alita, as you mentioned, is not really lined up either.
And those fares could play a key factor in this match.
I found it interesting. Alita Sill and Robin have met 5 times. Alita's 1-4 against Robin. She'd like to change that to 2-4. And there's Kenneth Jordan, Alita Sill's caddy. I wonder if the caddies are sitting next to each other over there. Nope, they are not.
Good thing. Now, Alita's got to try and find lane 27 here. This has been giving her trouble. She's moving deeper. She played between 10 and 15 all week.
And again, high. This time only leads the 4-pin.
She's shaking her head. She is making adjustments, and yet you're seeing the same result each and every frame. The ball's coming high.
Lane 27 is definitely a puzzle to her. Currently ranking 3rd in earnings with $42,000 so far in 94. And there's Jeff McCorvey, the manager here at AMF Pin Palace. And what a wonderful event they put on this week as well. Very happy with it. I understand we are going to be coming back here next year. Robin says finish, backs that up with a yes. Right now, though, she needs this one on lane 27 to put this match even.
This is a key shot, and she hasn't struck on this lane since the 3rd frame. She's got to find a way to strike.
What was Alita's choice to start or finish the match, and she has allowed Robin to finish on lane 28. Even though the pressure will be on her, it's definitely her better lane. And you heard her yell, sit. Ball did, but left a 4-pin.
That was a good shot. Like I said, she just has no room. She has a very small pocket on that lane. Low percentage of carry for her.
She can only hope right now that Alita Sill does not step up in the 9th and 10th frame and strike out. Converts to spare. Shoot a possible 198 game. But right now, Alita Sill can shoot 218 if she were to go to the wall. And that's been her good lane. That was the lane she has been striking on. So to miss her good lane.
Yeah, she's been in the pocket every shot on that lane.
This is coming right down to the final ball again. Needs to convert this. Ball to convert spare. 9-pin difference between these two players right now. Alita Sill can throw 2 strikes to close out Robin Romeo. But she has not hit lane 27.
Lane 27 is a mystery to her. We can tell every time she's walking off the approach and shaking her head.
Well, actually, she hit it in the 2nd frame. That was the only time. That was a long time ago.
And again high, she made another move. She actually threw that ball harder. She kept up her ball speed, hoping she could get the ball to slide. And it looked like it was gonna do it. That's a high backswing for Alita. Threw that ball hard. She was in about 15. It looked like it was gonna sit, just came up, and then she got a good break to kick out the 7-pin.
Well, she converts to spare. She strikes. She shoots 195. Still forces Robin Romeo to throw 2 strikes in the 10th.
Robin's got destiny in her own hands right now.
And you can see there, she knows it. She's going to be looking down, taking those words of Freddie Borden, trying to remember them. And 9 on the fill ball, shoots 194. 2 strikes and 7 pins. Robin Romeo will become the champion. Anything less? It's Alita Sill's 20th victory.
Come on, let's do it.
She tripped the 4-pin forward.
And it looked like the same shot as 27. I thought the 4 was standing solid. Ball's hitting high just like all the rest, but look at that, had been off the wall. Oh.
What a reaction. Yes. And she's taking a little extra time here. Must have this strike.
Alita cannot watch.
Set it, baby! Oh, you heard her yell, set it, baby. Oh, again, a 4-pin through a great shot, and Alita Sill is the winner. We'll be back to talk with our champions. Stay with us.